Good afternoon, fellow colleagues, Christmas and movie fans from all over the world who are watching us at the moment. Welcome to our digital press conference for the upcoming MGM, Amazon Studios, and Warner Brothers Pictures movie Red One. My name is Steven Gätchen, and in attendance here in Berlin are, and it's for you to decide if they belong on the Santa Claus nice or Krampus naughty list, Jake Kasdan, producer and director, Chris Evans, Dwayne Johnson, Lucy Liu, J.K. Simmons, Bonnie Hunt, Kiernan Shipka, and Christopher Heavju on the couch. Welcome. And in the back row, Melvin Ma, producer, Hiram Garcia, story by and producer, Chris Morgan, writer and producer, and Ainsley Morgan, executive producer. Welcome to all of you. And it's good to see you in good spirits after last night's wonderful world premiere here in Berlin. And prior to the press conference, we asked you, dear journalists, to submit some questions, and we received lots of them. So let's jump straight away into our little question and answer game. So the first one is directed to Jake and the producers, and it's coming from Cinemax in Mexico. When the movie finished, my first thought was this could be a Santa Claus for the new generation. What was it like to dive in a new version of the North Pole Santa and awesome characters that you get to encounter in this adventure that, for me, turned into an instant classic?
Well, that's great to hear. We'll take that reaction any day of the week. That was absolutely one of the most exciting aspects of this movie, was sort of looking at a way that we could tell Santa's story that we've never quite seen before, right? You've seen him a certain way your whole life, and we always thought that the great, exciting idea for this is, what if you could sort of pull back the curtain and see what he's really like? And so all of those aspects of this came from that sort of seed idea. Hiram Garcia came up with this. This was his brainchild, and he brought Chris and I on board early with DJ, and I think that was the idea that got us all going right in the very beginning.
So Hiram, what's your answer?
Yeah, I think when we did start working on this, one of the goals was, and actually when we were going around pitching it, we always ended the pitch with saying our hope was to tell a story that really inspired people, turn Christmas on its head in the mythology, but also to create the definitive Santa Claus. The version that there's been so many good Santa Clauses, but to find one that really took a connection with the audience to the next level and brought a coolness out to Santa that, as a big Christmas fan, I always knew Santa's got. And I feel like we did that with J.K., and especially the way Jake envisioned it on screen. J.K.'s performance as Santa is everything we dreamed and more.
Great answer. Thank you. Chris, Ainsley, Melvin, anything to add? Do you have anything to add?
I mean, I would just say that when you watch the movie, you can feel on the screen that everybody in this room loves Christmas. Everyone loves the spirit of giving back. But just like Jake said, this started with one person. And the reason we're all here is actually your story and your idea. Like, really, really, I think Hiram loves Christmas more than anybody in the world.
It's really intense.
Yeah, nice to be part of it,
Intense
though.
love of Christmas.
Sounds scary to some point. Okay,
Not in a scary way.
the next question is directed to Dwayne Johnson and Chris Evans, and it's from Pop Culture Planet, US of A. How do you find a balance between an action movie and a holiday movie when bringing Red One to life?
Good question. How do you find a balance? Oh, I got to use the mics.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was like, guys.
Sure.
I mean, that's a good question. Luckily, it's not only me that has to figure that out. We have a whole team of people who are trying to crack that code. I mean, I think it actually provides a lot of fun. There's such great Christmas lore, folklore, not just the stories we all grew up with, but internationally. You know what I mean? When you hear some of these creatures and stories and mythology, it almost begs for some sort of, action adventure movie. So it's not quite as hard as you think.
Dwayne.
I agree. I also feel that it all really starts with the material, of course, coming out of Hiram's brain, and then Chris Morgan cracking it, and Jake coming in and cracking it and putting it together on the page. So the material itself, I think, lent itself to big action scale, which you typically don't see in Christmas movies, creating the definitive Santa Claus. All of these actors, who obviously all incredibly talented, came in loving Christmas, but actually everyone being the perfect actor for that particular role. And then on top of all that, I think you sprinkle in something that Jake inherently does in his films. I've had the privilege of working with him now 3 times on the first 2 Jumanji movies, and now Red One is heart. And there's so much heart in this movie. Like that's often an overstatement, I think, in storytelling in Hollywood, but it's true. It's something like this. I think the idea, and it's one of my favorite parts of the movie, where Jake as Santa Claus reminds me that it's our job to see the best in people and look at that child, look beyond if they're on the naughty list, like this guy, look beyond it and look at the kid in everybody. So, as Chris was saying, it really wasn't that hard.
And it works, and you can see it in the movie. This one is for J.K. Simmons and Bonnie Hunt from Kids First, Los Angeles, US of A, and What's on United Arab Emirates. You are Santa and Mrs. Claus are different to most pop culture depictions, but both roles bring warmth and charm, contributing to the film's heart, as Dwayne just said. What do you love most about your characters in this festive tale?
I think that they're a team.
Teamwork.
Yeah, teamwork.
Yeah.
They have action, humor, pathos, and a story that has an underlying theme of goodness can prevail and lead to better things. It's a no-brainer to say absolutely yes, I want to be involved.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow, that was quick and dirty. Thank you. Here's a question for Lucy Liu from FYR Podcast Australia. It was so much fun seeing Zoe Harlow get in on the action. How was it preparing for the role?
Well, it was impromptu. I had spoken to Jake, and he's like, I said, is there any training, or do you need me to, like, prep anything? And he said, no, I think maybe she's going to, like, throw a kick and maybe a punch. Maybe that's it. You're just the boss lady, and that's all it's going to be. And I said, okay, great, no problem. I show up to the set. We're, doing the costume fittings and everything. And then the stunt coordinator comes in and he says, I just want to give you a little bit of a previs of what we're going to do. He shows me this entire action scene. And I'm like, my face just turned white. And then I was like, okay, let's do this. And as soon as I got the sticks in my hands, it was like muscle memory kicked in. And it was like I was alive again. So actually, thank you for that. I hadn't done it in a long time, but it just came back to me. And I love watching action movies. I grew up watching them, and it actually being on the screen doing action is so exciting. And I think that it gets kids excited, it gets girls excited, it gets women excited. So, it's nice that you still got it.
Good to hear. Next up, Kiernan and Christopher. From the Netherlands. How was it getting to play a villain, and how did you both get into character and prepare for your roles?
It was really fun. I mean, I loved it. I've never really played a proper villain before. I've definitely played people who are dark and twisted, but the film kind of hinges on this kidnapping. And it was really cool to feel like I had a part in the movie that was sort of moving things in any sort of direction. That was really fun. I liked those stakes, and I love that this movie is so fun. I mean, there's a lot of heart in it, there's a lot of action in it, but at the end of the day, I think you sit down and it's a really fun watch. So playing someone who is a villain but also maintaining like a sense of levity and fun with the whole thing was also really lovely. So it was great. I'll play villain anytime. It's fun.
Christopher.
Now, for me, it was like the character is more or less the suit, right? So I tried to play against the suit, make him actually play him as feminine, as narcissistic and self-indulging as possible. And suddenly that mixture became a bit disturbing. But the funny thing about Krampus is that he has the same objective as Nick. They want the same. It's just the method, punishing or rewarding. And sometimes you need a bit of slapping.
Krampusschlapp.
Can I say, though, for Chris and I, when we step on set, and we had the privilege of obviously being on set for many, many days with Christopher as Krampus, it is one of the most impressive things we had ever seen. He's massive. And what we were talking about earlier is he really does such a spectacular job as Krampus in our story, the mythology of the brother of Santa, but also the prosthetics that he was wearing from Joel Harlow, who's an Academy Award winner, and you really see it. But the challenge is there has to be so much life going on in his eyes because everything else is just these incredible prosthetics. And because he's such a superior actor, like you felt that and you feel that in the movie. So anyway, just hats off to you, man.
Thank
you really did a great job.
I mean, you could have done it all in CGI, Jake. Why did you choose to do it that way with prosthetics and in a real set?
We never even considered doing it CG. We always wanted to do it that way. And I think that it was, I had never really done that kind of work before. I'd never had anything in a movie with that level of, kind of complex character makeup like that. And like DJ says, we found like one of the world's truly great guys to design it with us. And it was so gratifying that everybody in that sequence, it's a big sequence in the movie at Krampus's, house, kind of. And he's having
Lair,
a party.
you can say lair.
And there's all of these characters, there's a whole bunch of these like very sophisticated makeup characters walking around. And the effect of it is you walk on set and you're just surrounded by all these incredible looks, right? And they're really standing there. And so then these guys walk in and they're really looking at them. And so in a lot of times when we make these, a lot of these movies, there is a lot of CG. There's a lot of CG in this movie, but not there. And usually when you're doing that kind of work, it puts a lot of additional kind of acting work on the guys, right? To like, what are you looking at? Imagine what you're looking at. Trust me that it's going to line up with what they're playing and all of those things. But when you go in and you actually see all those faces there, it just energizes everybody in the best possible way. And then to add on to what DJ is saying, when you get an actor like this who's like takes on the challenge that Christopher did of like, how do I make this performance shine through so that it's not eaten by the suit, so that the character isn't really the suit. We've spent months developing that look, but then he's acting it and it's just this explosive, energetic thing that, lights everybody up. So it was one of the great kind of fun sequences I've ever had a chance to do.
And I grew up on movies like Labyrinth and Never-Ending Story where it was all practical and it was real, and those things stuck with you as a kid because it was things that you never saw in your normal life. And I know now that every other movie is just loaded with CG, and in a way there's so much of it that when you do get a film that goes practical, it still sticks with you in that same way because it's still rare like it was when I was a kid. And that's what makes it feel not just like a real character, a real performance, but it's just it's not common anymore, which is nice.
It looks awesome. There's another one for Chris from Multimedios Televisión Mexico. Do you think a character represents the motto, "We all deserve a second chance"?
Oh, yeah, that's actually really nice. I'm going to steal that for the rest of press. That's lovely. Yeah, I think he kind of represents the motto, we all deserve... No. Yeah. Thanks, Christopher. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I think at the heart of any good Christmas story, that's going to be a ribbon that seams through that you see throughout the plot. But that's what this movie does a great job of, tapping into the heart and humanity that you're supposed to feel during the holidays, that it is, goodwill towards men. It is about remembering priorities and certainly for the folks that are looking for forgiveness, offering them those second chances.
And the last question, and I think this is the greatest one, and it is from Steven from Germany. It's me. Watching Red One will for sure be a future Christmas tradition for families around the globe to get into the festive spirit. What is your number one Christmas tradition, Dwayne?
Just get family together. Oh, yeah, sorry. Just getting family together would be our number one greatest family tradition. And I know it's simplistic, but a lot of times when I was growing up, my dad was always on the road and he wasn't always home for Christmas. And in the business that we're in, sometimes it requires us to work over the holidays. So for me, just to have the entire family together, that's the most important thing.
Chris,
And give
Lucy?
me like good shit under the tree. Like I want the good gifts.
toys.
Give me the stuff. Yes.
We would write letters to Santa on Christmas Eve, but I was saying earlier that I'm one of four, and my siblings and I are all very close in age, close as people. But on Christmas Eve, we would all decide whose room are we going to sleep in. We would have a little sleepover in somebody's room, and we would bring
nice.
that old, the old TV that had the VCR.
Don't encourage.
We'd get our copy of Crocodile Dundee and just. Well, for those of you who don't know, there was a Crocodile Dundee joke. No, that the fun thing was picking what Christmas movie are we going to watch. It's usually like a Bankin' and Rass thing. Is it Bankin' and Rass? I keep saying that. Am I getting that right? It's Bankin' and Rass. Rankin and Bass. Bankin' and Rass. Bankin' and Rass. Rankin and Bass. Rudolph, Yeah, that was always the fun thing, picking the movie and then going upstairs and just trying desperately to fall asleep, but then getting all to wake up together at the same time.
Lucy, JK.
For us, we didn't grow up with any traditions, and so it was sort of a free-for-all. But I have a child now, and I realize that you can start your own traditions, you can create them. And, I give him a gift, of course, he gets gifts, but the most important thing now is I always take him on an experience as a gift. And I think just learning that being together and doing something together, even if it's simple, like going to the Empire State Building or going to see the Rockettes, something like that. So I didn't think he would really remember because kids really want things, But he said to me, last year, he said, "Oh, remember when we went to the Empire State Building for that experience that you gave me?" And it really made me feel like, oh, this really works. It's like when you try to teach sign language to babies, you're like, do you want more? And it just never works. And then one day, out of nowhere, they just do this, and you're like, whoa, the light bulb went off. So to me, Christmas is about togetherness. I mean, not unlike what these guys said, but also, even if you didn't grow up with a tradition or with a faith, that you can create that, wherever you are and at any moment in your life.
JK.
First, I just want to echo what DJ said. That's always been the most important. And that, as I thought of how to expand on that, when I have an older sister, 2 years older. She was probably 6 and I was 4, and my little brother was a baby. And, of course, on Christmas morning, we're up like before the crack of dawn, bothering our parents and getting them out of bed, and, they dragged their butts out of bed. But I think that was the Christmas that my mom just said, "Go make some oatmeal." and my sister, she's the oldest. She's the female, so she's the assistant mom. We go. So from every Christmas from then on, my sister and I would get up. We would make the oatmeal, and after we eat the oatmeal, then we're allowed to open the stockings from Santa, and then we wait for Mom and Dad to wake up to open all the rest of the presents. So it taught us a real kind of self-sufficiency, and it was a real sort of gave my sister especially a sense of responsibility.
Thank you for that nice story, Bonnie.
Yeah, echoing everybody here. I mean, it's togetherness, being with family. I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters, and it was always a busy day in the Hunt household. Well, any day was. But Christmas was always a really special day. It was like the one day that my dad was actually home from work, maybe for a few hours. Somebody would call him because something broke in their house, and he'd be there to fix it. He was an incredibly talented craftsman, handyman, electrician. And now when we're all together, I always say it's always fun until you hear the phrase, "What's that supposed to mean?" And then it's the other family tradition of, walking on eggshells. So, yeah, that's our family tradition.
Kiernan and Christopher.
I mean, hopping on the echo chain of just like, yes, it's all about family and being together with people. But I have a very fun holiday party every year. That is my own personal. It's not this year. No one's not been invited. But kitchen is being renovated. Don't worry. 2025 will be very fun. But yeah, that's what I do.
I'm stopping the echo party. What I need a big Santa chocolate with a hole inside, and a Christmas movie, and have this big chocolate and like that, and that's Christmas for me.
How is that the best answer?
Thank you so much. We are running out of time. Really sorry to stop the press conference at this moment. I mean, it's been fantastic. Thank you so much for all your answers. Thank you so much for submitting all these great questions. Thank you for a wonderful, festive, and amazing Christmas movie, Red One. And just to let you know, all around the world, Red One will open in theaters internationally on the 6th of November and on the 15th in the US. So thank you very much for joining us.
And when we're done here, what we'll do, producers, we'll gather around. You guys could let us know what your Christmas predictions are. You could just talk to us about it.
You can write it down.
Don't worry, we got it. Oh, I forgot.
Exactly. I'm sorry.
Listen to you guys out there, though.
I'm sorry.
These people don't want to hear that shit later.
Exactly. Write it down. Write it down and send it to Santa. So thank you so much. Merry Christmas. Stay safe and see you soon. Bye-bye.